program this week, and he was warning and he was saying basically that as the United States collapses, that really the plan will be to drag us into more of a global war. And you're fighting against this, Congressman Paul. Is that why you continue to fight against these wars that drain our treasury and kill off our citizens needlessly?
Yeah, it's too much war. Militarism bankrupts countries and destroys nations, and it destroys liberty. So it continues. And I think it boils down to endorsing this concept of preventive war. And that's been around for a while, but it was really established in the last administration. And Obama believes in this, expanding wars and spreading wars into Pakistan. We're essentially in war in Pakistan right now. And next week, we're going to have a major piece of legislation brought under suspension because hardly anybody will vote against it, and that is to come really down hard on the Iranians. We're going to try to prevent any gasoline from getting into Iran just to precipitate this. We always have to have monsters destroyed. We have to scare people. You know, they're not even near. Our CIA says the Iranians aren't even close to having a weapon, and yet we're going to scare the people that we have to go and literally, before it's all over, bomb them in order to prevent them, because maybe someday they might have a nuclear weapon. And, of course, there's a lot of countries that have nuclear weapons, and we don't treat them the same way, and we survived the Soviets having tens of thousands of it. So this hysteria and fear build up, it just does nothing more than promote the military-industrial complex. It gives them a chance to go and protect their natural resources, and all the things that eventually come home to roost. It becomes very damaging to us personally here at home, and it is very destructive to our economy.
Rand?
Well, I think the most important vote or debate we ever have in Washington should be over whether our national security is threatened. And we have to have that debate, but it's not enough just to say it is. We have to talk about it. We have to discuss whether it truly is. One of the things that troubles me in Afghanistan, and I've gotten this reports from GIs on the ground in Afghanistan, is they're bothered by the fact that it's now official U.S. policy to pay the Taliban not to fight. We also have U.S. contractor money that's being paid to rebuild Afghanistan. Approximately 20% of that is alleged to be going to pay off the Taliban not to attack them. But what concerns our GIs is then they're told to go out and fight. They're losing limbs, parts of their body and their lives, maybe with money that the U.S. has actually paid to the Taliban. And can we trust the Taliban to be paid not to fight during the day, that they won't be fighting at night? I think we really need to have a big debate and discussion in our country. James Jones, the president's national security advisor, says there's less than 100 al-Qaeda fighters in Afghanistan. McChrystal agrees to that. They both say the threat is less than it's ever been, that al-Qaeda can regroup in Afghanistan. But I think there needs to be more of a debate. And there needs to be a big debate over what are the national security risks in Afghanistan and what is our presence there for.
Congressman Paul, you are so prolific in fundraising, and right now, as you know, your son, Dr. Rand Paul, has a money bomb coming up here on the 16th. Isn't that a way that listeners globally from King World News can contribute and try to put an end to this tyranny? Because you have to really start one step at a time, right, Congressman Paul? Isn't that a way right now people can step in and make donations to that to try to not only have you in Congress, but now bring your son in on the Senate side?
Theoretically, a good candidate and grassroots effort could and should be able to overcome the opposition, but it takes more. It takes the money. If you don't have the money, not only can't you advertise, but you don't have credibility. The biggest attention getter in the campaign, the presidential campaign, that impressed the other politicians in Washington were the money bombs, and in particular the first one or the big one. They just couldn't believe it. Members came. They didn't care what I was saying, but boy, they were impressed. How do you do this? It's almost like a movement, So, no, the money is very important. You get a lot of benefits. Not only do you get the money to run your campaign, you get the publicity. Just think how Rand got some attention because he did so well in the last quarter. But that puts more pressure on him. If he doesn't do well in this quarter, okay, his support's dropped off, so he's under the burden of raising even more money now. So you get a couple good whammies because you get so much attention from raising a lot of money, then you still have your money. You sort of get free advertisement, then you can use the money in a different way for your campaign. It's crucial. You can't do it in this day and age. In spite of the tremendous benefit from the internet and grassroots efforts, you still have to have the money.
Rand, very quickly on this money bomb, a call to support for the listeners. And also, it's important to note you've taken the lead in the polls, obviously. And I think you were up 3 percentage points. You came from behind, and you've been leading in the fundraising, correct? So what would you say here to listeners globally?
We've come a huge way. I thank my father and the Liberty Movement. We couldn't do it without them. And we have a real chance to win. December 16th, the people log on to our website, randpaul2010.com. We have a real chance to win here. It's going to take money. But if we do it, I think we have the best chance of any Liberty candidate in the country, other than Ron Paul, of course. But we have the best chance of getting a new person in Washington. If you look objectively at our race, we can win if we can raise the money. And I really appreciate King World News interviewing us on this subject.
All right, and for fans of Congressman Ron Paul, he will be hosting CNBC's Squawk Box this coming Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern. We have the Dr. Rand Paul Money Bomb. We have the book End the Fed. We have Rand Paul's 2010 website, campaignforliberty.com. Jesse over there and the other people running that site. Michael Nystrom over at dailypaul.com. We are going to have links to all of this stuff on this interview page. Please go there. It will lead you and link you right into these sites and into the ability to make a donation to Dr. Rand Paul's campaign. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here and for fighting for freedom and fighting for justice and fighting for our republic. Thank you for joining us on King World News.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us at kingworldnews.com. Remember to tune in next week where we will have David Tice from the Federated Prudent Bear Fund as well as Bill Fleckenstein from Fleckenstein Capital.